Welcome to the Dawn Jarvis Show with Dawn Jarvis, the diverse nurse. And in this podcast, we will be talking about healthcare, self-care, diversity, careers, and well-being from a black woman's perspective. We're really happy that you're here. So if you're ready, let's get on with the show.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Dawn Jarvis Show. And I'm Dawn Jarvis, the diverse nurse, and this is the podcast where we talk to and about busy leaders, professionals and business owners who are part of my diverse nurse network, learning about who they are, what they do and why they do it, and how they prioritise their own health and well-being and stay focused, positive and productive. Today, I'm joined by the fantastic Jenny Kovacs. I met Jenny at a 3-day event about 18 months ago, and I have joined Jenny on her own 3-day events that she does around visibility. We were in the same mastermind for a year, and we do Clubhouse rooms together, and I'm privileged to call her a friend. And Jenny is a visibility specialist, and the topic for today's show is getting visible, the key pillars to being seen. We're going to learn how to stand out. Jenny's going to give us some visibility tips for maximum impact, how to raise your professional profile for industry recognition, and the secret ingredients to being visible so that you're remembered and not overlooked. Hi, Jenny. It's great to see you. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. Hello, hello. I'll try not to be too formal.
No, I only saw you the other day, didn't I? So yeah, don't need to be formal at all. It's so good to see you. I'm looking forward to having a chat and catching up with you and learning about what you're up to at the moment. Let me introduce you properly. Jenny Kovacs is a visibility specialist, and she's known as the Queen of Being Seen. She's a speaker and mentor and businesswoman, and she regularly appears on the BBC throughout the UK and speaks on the topic of professional visibility internationally. Jenny is the creator of the Visibility Activator. I'm saying that again. Jenny is the creator of the Visibility Activator System, which is trademarked, and Jenny helps people to raise their professional profile. So hi, Jenny, again. It is so good to see you. So I think I know you, and I know your story, but it'd be really good for you to share, a bit about you, what you do, and how you got to where you are today as a visibility specialist.
So I think the first thing that I want to say is that a lot of people think that these things happen overnight and really quickly. This part of my journey is 11 years in the making. What do I mean by that? As a business owner, I've been in business for 11 years. So there were a lot of parts that contributed to where I am today. And a lot of that actually started way before I started the business in 2010. And this whole concept of visibility and everything else is something that's evolved and been honed over the years. But to cut a very long story short, I, as an employee, thought I was just driven and ambitious and wanted career progression. So I literally sat at my desk one day with a little notebook, not too dissimilar a size to this, actually, happens to be here. And
the famous notebooks are coming out already, Jenny.
Yes, exactly. So when you get to know me, you know that I'm a stationery addict as well, but that's another topic for another time. So I remember writing in this little notebook at my desk some of my goals, things that I wanted to achieve, and one of them was simply career progression. And I did the things that you would normally do at work to try to get career progression, went for the promotions, tried to make sure that I was learning from the right people and stuff like that. And in that particular role, I realized in that particular organization that I wasn't going to get as far as I wanted to get. So in 2006 to 2008, I started a new job, and it was in the financial services industry. And I, still with the same mindset, I went in with a different way of thinking about stuff. And between 2006 and 2008, I actually increased my own professional profile. I got promoted 3 times, and I quadrupled my salary. And you might be thinking, what on earth has that got to do with visibility? Well, if you think about it, when we're self-employed, if we want to earn more money, we just sell more stuff or market ourselves more. But when you're an employee, apart from doing overtime, or people always joke about, oh, did they sleep with the boss? You're not going to get a promotion. not to be contentious, but let's have a look at our government and shenanigans that go on there.
Yes.
So traditionally, people think that's the only way that you can get ahead, right face, be in the right place at the right time. I didn't think there was anything unusual about this, though. I'll be honest. I was just this person that was like fiercely ambitious, doing what I had to do. And after that period, of course, in financial services, there was a big crash. I was made redundant. I took another role. And the role that I took next, although it wasn't quite equal in stature, but it was quite a senior position still, I realized that I had a bit of a crisis of confidence. And here's what that crisis of confidence did. It led me to take a 60% pay cut, a 60% pay cut. I accepted that for myself because inside I thought it was luck, it was a fluke, I wouldn't be able to do it again. Maybe I wasn't really that great. Maybe I'm not great at what I do. Maybe I need to go and learn something more. And these are things that everybody does. So the actual reason that I created this system, the Visibility Activator System, was to show people, depending on their industry, what they're doing, whether they're an employed professional or a business owner, how to be able to navigate their own path to visibility success that isn't sort of slimy and horrible and forceful, but they could do it as them in an authentic way. So it was the crisis of confidence that actually led me to put this system together, because so many clients that I was working with at the time, speaking and presenting themselves as a speaker coach, when I first started my business, they were like, but how did you do that? And they seemed really interested. And I didn't think there was a way to teach people this. So I worked with my own coaches, I did my own thing, and then worked out, actually, there are steps. They're slightly different for everybody, but the key pillars are exactly the same. And that's what we'll be talking about today.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's a really good way of letting people know how you got to where you are. Now, the title Visibility Specialist, we had a bit of a conversation before around, and I think with business owners, we sort of like think about really hard about what we do and who we do it for, who we're helping. But sometimes some of those titles, they might be really relevant for the people that need the services, but your average Joanna doesn't know what it is. So just for the average Joanna, what is a visibility specialist and what does that look like?
So I'll tell you what it's not. I have nothing to do with eyesight. That's for sure.
I need a visibility specialist. That would be a good job, actually. Yeah, optician, the visibility specialist. Yes.
And given your roots in the healthcare profession and all of that kind of stuff, just to make that clear. Also, I found out recently, I also don't help professional footballers to adjust their eyesight as they go through their professional career, because that's another thing.
Wow.
Okay.
What
I do, no, I didn't know this, but what I do is I help people to either raise their professional profile, I help them to feel confident and comfortable to put themselves out there, and to be visible. And this is really great, especially for business owners who we end up having to wear the hat of accountant, marketing person, salesperson. We still have to be housekeeper, look after our kids, things like that. We wear so many different hats. And one of the things that I found as I went through different programs, courses, coaches and mentors, they were all teaching some really great stuff. But ultimately, what stopped people was their ability just to put their work out there, talk about themselves, either brag on what they did and let people know about what they do. Somehow that crisis of confidence had people feeling shy. So whether it's raising your professional profile, going for promotions, if you're an employee, whether you're a senior exec and you need to be steering that ship, or whether you're a business owner that just needs to feel comfortable. I'm going to say, put yourself out there in a way that's authentic. Now, don't shoot me. I know everybody uses the word authentic, but my clients tell me time and time again, Jenny, I just want to put myself out there as me and not worry about what people think about me. It's that I help people to do. And because I'm a bit of a sales geek, I also want the business owners to be able to sell their services so that they can make money from that. That to me is really important, because it's nothing more frustrating for a business owner, more upsetting, more demotivational than having a business that doesn't make money or that sucks money out of your pocket and out of your bank account, and you don't get to put that out there. So,
so that's a lovely explanation, and I think it's something that's well needed. And I sort of like, I'm really hearing that crisis of confidence, because you do a lot of work on yourself as a business owner at the beginning of your business journey about, you know, what you're doing, what you're, you know, what you're offering as a service to help people. But then it's a bit about marketing yourself, isn't it? And what you do, and to feel good about that, and people, and I find this with networking that I'm interested in, that people have sort of like really some interesting values and beliefs around that, and what they should be doing and what they shouldn't be doing, and what feels right for them, I think is the thing to say. So can
I just say something to what you just said there? I think if I had to put it in a sentence, I would say visibility is the glue between sales and marketing. It's what makes your sales and your marketing.
That's a lovely sentence.
Of that.
Yes, that's cool. I like that a lot. So Jenny, how do you stand out, you know, so the glue between sales and marketing, you know, what tips could you give us so that people have the maximum impact around that?
Well, I know we don't have time to go into the whole system, but what I would like to give for any of you that are listening, whether you're an employee, whether you're an exec and you're wanting to stay there, or whether you're a business owner who's looking to keep being visible so that you can raise your own professional profile, my Visibility Activator program is a system that I developed from this kind of quick career progression, and it has 5 key pillars. So I would grab pen and paper, or pause this video and go and get pen and paper, because at least you'll know what the 5 key pillars are. And these are things that not only helped me when I was going through this career progression, but they're things that I've worked on with clients ever since. And, you know, I've been able to replicate this so that you can go out there and do it for yourself. So if you write down the word vibes, V for Victor, I, B for Bravo, E for Echo, S for Sierra. Yes, I know my phonetic alphabet.
I'm very impressed, Jenny.
So the word vibes. So the first pillar is visibility itself. Now, of course, underneath these main pillars, there are other actions. Some people will be okay on some of them. Some people will need to go deeper. It's not like one size fits all. So underneath visibility, you need to have a vision. If I hadn't have sat at my desk and said, I want career progression, and really like felt it in my bones, I would have kind of meandered through. So having a vision of where you want to be or where you want to get to, you don't even need to know the steps it takes to get there. But having that vision helps. And then the other thing that people shoot me down for is video. And I'm not talking, you know, teleprompters and special screens and doing all of this. I'm talking about your ability to show up on camera, and the way that I teach it with my clients. And there are other ways, but this is a way to get started: mouth, arm, and smartphone. Once you've done at least 100 of those, then go out and buy equipment, you know, to your heart's content, because after you've done 100 videos, it's likely you would have been making money from that. So first step, first pillar V is visibility, and underneath that is vision and video. Now, second step is all about impact. Now, if you're quite driven, and I know you are, you're kind of like a go-getter, Dawn, you don't mind the word impact, because you understand that it's like making an impact on the world. But some people, especially people I found sometimes in certain parts of health and well-being, spirituality and things like that, they feel some way about impact. They think, impact, it's masculine and it's driven and it's pushing people out of the way.
They do.
So if any of you are thinking that, think more about the impression that you leave. You will leave an impression in the world. You'll leave a footprint in the world. You'll spread ripple effect in the world. So that's how you want to think about that. So then the third pillar is B. That's around your biography. And this is where people think that the only way to demonstrate their credibility is to talk about themselves, you know, like a verbal CV. And actually, people want to know more about how you can help them, whether you're an employee or not, actually. They want to know more about how you can help them, what value you bring, and things like that. And the biggest thing that I see in the entrepreneurial and business owning space, and this includes those of you that are speakers, authors, you know, and freelancers of some way, or consultants even, yes, there'll be the story of you, but the most important story isn't just about you. It's about the product or service you provide, especially if you can't see it. How do I show you, look, this is a visibility specialist. This is the bundle that you get. So in order to bring it to life, I need to be able to share a story of it. And I've got lots of stories, but I'll pick out the right ones for the right time. So, by telling you all, about being able to, quadruple my salary and get multiple promotions, that's just a part of the story. The next piece was about the crisis of confidence, what that really means, how people doubt themselves. So having those stories and knowing when to share them, how to share them is a really, really important piece. And we've all got stories. Our products have got stories, our services have got stories, our greatness have got stories, and our not so great stuff have all got stories. So the B is about the biography, the stories of those things. So then you've got your fourth pillar. It's about your energy, your vibe. Like, I will sit and wear this spotty shirt that I'm wearing today. And it's been a long time in the making, because anyone that knows me well will tell you that black was my favorite color to wear for many years. But it's about me being who I am. I'm not a person that's going to sit and kind of like speak over people and wear bright attention grabbing things. Even though I'm a visibility specialist, that's not my energy. It's not my vibe. And the saddest thing that I find when I work with people, they know what they're about, but when we dig deeper, being visible and being confident and able to put yourself out there is all around an inner confidence of knowing who you are, like who you are really. And many people think that means sharing personal or private stuff or sensational stuff. It could mean that you share your love of nature. It could mean that you share things like, I went for a run before this because I'm trying to get back into practice to run next year's London Marathon,
Yes.
It could mean talking about your favorite foods. And usually there's a synergy with who you are as a person and what you do in your business. There always is, but people don't often find it. So E is about the energy. And for me, especially for you're a health and wellbeing person without burnout. We'll come to that in a bit.
Yes.
And then the fifth pillar is the S. Actually, there are two main things under there. There's how we speak about ourselves. And for those of us that are business owners and maybe give talks online or offline or at networking, even the 60-second pitches are an opportunity to speak about our business. But the other thing is how we sell ourselves. And it's interesting, I spoke at a conference. It was a risk conference. It's like heads of banks and financial services and all of that. And a lot of them really didn't realize how important it was to be able to sell ourselves. And the reason for that is, think about those times when you're in a meeting. You might be around a classic boardroom, or you might just be around a table and you have an idea and you want the people in the room to jump with that idea. You need to be able to sell that idea, that message, that movement, that concept. So being able to sell either the product or service or yourself or your idea is super, super important. Even if you are, an employed professional that doesn't have a product or service, it's so important. If you don't do that, it chips away at that crisis of confidence and has you doubt yourself before anybody else gets a chance to do it for you. So those are the 5 pillars.
No, that's amazing. Thank you for that, and thank you for the examples and the illustrations. I think it's a really succinct system to sort of like talk about visibility. And I really liked about, it's not just about selling yourself, it's selling your ideas and your vision and what you want to get across in the world. So that's really good. So we've talked about how you sort of managed to raise your profile in your career, and we've talked about sort of like raising your profile for industry recognition. Is there any specific things around that you recommend as part of your system, as part of the work that you do, Jenny?
Yeah, I think it's one that I know that we both agree on, because we've kind of had this conversation before off air, so to speak. People miss so many great opportunities to be visible when they think that no one's paying attention. It could be that you are, at work and you're at a social activity. I mean, I learned from a very bad example when I was in my teens, thankfully. the proverbial go to the Christmas party, yay, it's a party, let's get really drunk kind of thing. I only ever did that once in my career, in my lifetime. I was that person that had too much to drink, and I won't even go into the things that, the shenanigans that went on that night,
We've all been there.
We have all been there, but this is a rookie mistake. You think, oh, well, I'm going out for drinks with work. Your thing might not be drinking too much. You might not even drink, but your thing will be forgetting that it's an opportunity to really get to know someone and build a relationship. And this is kind of like your forte, Dawn, isn't it? With
Networking, yes.
They forget that because there was a book that I read years ago from the guy who created Zappos, the brand in America, the Zappos shoe. And he talked about this thing of like maybe sitting next to somebody at networking or, at some sort of event, and look at what happens 2 years after that meeting, 2 to 3 years afterwards. Some of my best clients have been people that I've actually got to know as friends and become clients, and vice versa. Sometimes they've been clients, they've become friends, and sometimes they've stayed clients and we've just been client mentor, client coach relationship. I think it's really important to pay attention to your surroundings at any time. If you're in groups, forums, online, they're really great opportunities for you to be visible in a space of like-minded people. Yet a lot of people shy away and only share something. I see this with business owners. They only share something if they've got something to sell. Or you and I have been in rooms in Clubhouse where somebody comes up onto the stage and they want to quote unquote say something, but actually what they want to do is try and plug their products and services. They haven't read the room, they haven't found out anything about the conversation, and it's just a sad shame and an opportunity that's missed.
So I think you learn so much through finding out about people and what they do, and then you see the synergy between you and the sort of like how you can help each other, either as a friend or as a colleague or as a business owner. And people remember those conversations, but they also remember, oh, that was that person who tried to sell me that stuff, and didn't really ask me how I was, so and I people
for the wrong reasons.
Exactly. And then they think, well, I'm not sure about her, or here she comes, and I know that me and you've done that, so oh, here we go. So it's brilliant. So what do you think the secret ingredients are to being visible, so that you're remembered for the right reasons and not the wrong reasons that we've just talked about?
Well, you would have probably got bored of hearing me say this in the Clubhouse rooms that we've done together. I think it starts as easily as ABC. Like, everyone can remember the ABC, and there are 3 key components. It's the first one, A, is around your audience. You need to know who your audience is. And people say, but I'm not a speaker, or I'm not a podcast host, or whatever else. The people around you, whether you're sat in the staff room, or whether you're sat in a networking meeting, or whether you're sat in a Zoom room, those are your audience. Be very clear on who your people are and who they're not. I hear far too many business owners, for example, which is why I think they struggle at the start. I hear far too many business owners say, but my stuff helps everyone. My stuff helps everyone, but I just happen to know those people that have got a drive. I articulate it as that fire in your belly. The whole world thinks you're mad for doing the business that you want to do in the way that you want to do it. They don't understand it, they don't get it. But your clients, your ideal clients, get it, and they have this drive to do the thing that you offer. So know who your audience are, know who you're speaking to. And if you're saying, yes, but I'm, I don't know, a sales professional, I'm employed and I know who my audience is and all of that, I would say the biggest ingredient from this piece is the ability to listen, so that you can hear what people are actually asking you for. Okay,
absolutely.
So definitely knowing your audience. The second bit of business, again, whether you're an employee or whether you're a business owner, is we do a lot of comparisonitis. We compare ourselves to other people, and initially that starts off as something that drives us, that motivates us. For many people, especially that little chink in the crisis of confidence, it can sometimes flip on its head, have us crying into our porridge. We get really worried that, oh, well, I'm not doing as well as them, or they started the same time as me, or they wrote a book as well, and they seem to have had more people buy it than me. And I think that there are 5 elements. We don't have time to go into all of those elements, but there are 5 key elements to stop us from derailing ourselves, self-sabotaging, and going on the wrong tangent when it comes to our businesses. People talk about shiny bright objects, which is one component of that. But actually, if we're not very clear on our business type, so we're a service-based business, like a consultancy, and we try to sell our products like somebody who sells pens, for example, there's going to be a mismatch. The other thing is growth. I hear a lot of kind of coaches and consultants, when they get started, go for this magic 10K a month figure. But if you've never made £1 a month, it's all going to feel really kind of strained. Like, what are you selling? How are you selling it? Who are you selling it to? Is it online, offline? So there's all these things to consider. And if you're the employee within a business, you still need to consider how that brand wants to put themselves out there so that you can be in alignment and do more for that brand. So there's all of that. That's under the B. And then under the C is credibility. You will notice I could have spent loads of time talking about how I did shows with Nikki Campbell or how I spoke at Google, but the only person that feels really great to hear that is me. I'm like,
no, hang on a minute. It is pretty cool to speak at Google. Nikki Campbell is a household name, so let's get that out there. Yeah, so that's okay. No, I enjoy hearing about it, Jenny. So, you're all right. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
Sometimes I've heard it before, and it's not that I love people, I'm interested in people, but when they've been talking for like 20 minutes about all their achievements and stuff, all that does for the person listening is kind of it sets them into confusion of how does that help me?
Right. Yes.
There are better ways. In fact, in something that I've just literally finished putting together now, because I've just seen that people get stuck so many times, there's actually 7 ways you can demonstrate your credibility, and none of them are having to say things like, oh, I spoke at Google, or I've done this. And there are ways that you can do it even when you're beginning in your business. And I think because people do this comparisonitis, they look at what other people are doing. Oh, look at Marcus Rashford. I want to be a famous footballer and help the world. There are lots of steps that he took to get there. And it's about finding our own path and our own steps to do the same thing so that we can have, I don't even want to say the success, I want to say so that we can succeed. Because when you say that word succeed and apply it to yourself, it feels just so much more settling sometimes than success. So ABC, audience, your business, and credibility. Check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Brilliant song, by the way. And I don't think
all rights belong to whoever it was that sung that.
Whoever sang that. I can't remember his name. But I was just laughing around that. But I know I might put a link to it in the show. It's a really good song. So I know you love stationery. We share a love of stationery.
Please don't make me talk about that.
Look, I think that could be a whole podcast by itself. I was talking about stationery, and we've done it before on Clubhouse. Anyway, but I know also you love reading, and we're of the age where we didn't have, PlayStation and stuff like that, but we did have books. So is there any books that, and I know that you often share your insights from books with people, or any books that, that sort of like that have helped you or that you've been reading recently?
Oh my gosh, there are so many books, and I'm going to share a guilty secret. I'm the person that has a gazillion books, and most of the time I've probably read 1 to 2/3 of the book. There are a few I've read from cover to cover and go back again. So I brought some here because I thought, let's see what we talk about and let's see which ones I recommend. So here's one that I love. This is an oldie but a goodie. This one by Lois Frankel. Called Nice Girls Don't Get the Corner Office. I ran an academy once. It was a sales academy, an in-house sales academy. And even though it says nice girls, it was male and female. And this is about mistakes that we make. And sometimes when we're looking to be accepted or listened to, we will do things like we work too hard. I remember working with somebody, I won't say which of the decades of the three, but I remember working with somebody who was really like great brain, analytical, but decorated their office like it was their living room.
Oh.
Like, it wasn't just pictures of kids, which there's no harm, no foul there, but it was, you know, mementos from holidays and little bows, and it was really pretty. And Lois talks about this in the book. Mistake number 26: decorating your office like a living room. Unless you're an interior decorator, it doesn't pay. She's really straight talking. There's a little quiz in there you can do. So this one I recommend. If you are having that moment in your head that's like, come on, I'm employed and it's time for me to go up the career ladder, even though there's been a pandemic, it doesn't matter. Get the book.
Okay, cool.
Can I recommend one more? Do I have time?
Yes, let's do it.
This one I recommend all the time. I actually spoke about this at our recent
yes.
This one by Tom Rath, Strength Finders. And here's the reason I recommend this. There's a gazillion pieces of research that's been done by Tom, and it's all about looking at our strengths. You get this book, which you don't actually have to read. There's an introduction, and then at the back of it, there's you scratch off a number and you do an online test, and it shows you the top 5 strengths. Now, the reason I like this is most people only get to this in an interview, you know, where they say, so what are you really great at? Two things happen. They either make it up or they go, oh, well, I guess well, I'm quite good at organising, but I don't want to say. With this book, when you know what your top 5 strengths are, it means that you can start to use those on a daily basis, which helps you to stand out and be visible professionally even more. But it also fills up that cup. If I'd been reading this book through that crisis of confidence, I probably wouldn't have made the choices that I made, but it was a journey. So highly recommend the book.
Yeah, I've got that book, but I haven't scratched off and done the test yet. So that's one of the things I definitely need to do. And sort of like, I'm like you.
Great as well, because you're like, oh my God, this is me. Oh yeah, I am really good at this. And you kind of, it really boosts you. So definitely
that's fantastic. That's fantastic. And have you got something you'd like to share with the audience? Around, you know, the work that you do?
Yeah, so I've got like, I'm on social media everywhere, but I also do have, and I provide the link to you so that people can get it. It's a free kind of 2-page download. And it's 2 one-pagers where you can raise your professional profile and go through, you know, those 5 key pillars that I talked about. You can have a look at those and just look at like where you might need to adjust, you know, where you might need to turn it up a little bit. So, you literally put in your best email address. I don't ask you for war and peace, where you live, how many kids you've got or anything. Just put in your email address to that. And the first one is delivered to you instantly. The second one is delivered to you as soon as you kind of like accept everything that the provider accepts. And as I said, I am working on an ABC piece, like a mini course. What I will do, Dawn, because it's about the buttons about to be pushed on it, I will give you a code to put in your show notes, and if it's something that people are interested in doing, they'll get it for like a tiny teeny slice.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's so useful. Thank you so much. And that's a really great resource, and it's a really interesting topic. And I know that even if you feel you're a person that, you know, oh no, I couldn't possibly, it is something around confidence that we all need to learn how to do, even in the most, you know, I was going to say ordinary situations like walking up the road, or you know buying bread from the supermarket or something like that, because you never know who you're going to bump into, do you? Exactly. So how, you know, so there's a couple of questions. So this podcast is around sort of health and well-being, and you know, sort of about how we maintain it and retain, so be focused, positive and productive, you know, where around driven people, or maybe not driven people, or people who want something different. So I have a theory, and maybe I'm basing it on myself, sort of like putting yourself out there. I don't have a problem with it necessarily, but I do have to think about it. I do have the confidence things like everybody else, although you might not think so. And it takes a lot of energy, doesn't it? And I'm all about the energy, and that was one of your components, wasn't it, in your vibe system? That So, you know, as a visibility specialist, so it's two questions. As a visibility specialist yourself, how do you manage your own sort of energy, your own self-care, your own well-being? And the other question, which is a supplementary question, is how do you stay focused, positive and productive? Because it's a lot. You know, you design stuff, you speak, you coach, you mentor, you do courses. I know all this about you. So, and you're a solopreneur, and you're doing it, you're living it, you're embodying it. How do you keep it going, Jenny?
So the first question about the energy piece, one of the components of that fourth pillar is using the time you've got. It's not time management. It's about using the time you've got. And a lot of people come to me and say, I want to start doing videos. I want to do this thing. I want to, you know, speak more. I want to do all the things. And that's great to have on your vision. But then they almost try and stretch time to fit it all in. That's going to lead you to a quick route to burnout. So I think the key there is to have a look at the time you've got. And I remember working with somebody who was a mum of 5. And she was hilarious. I shared with her, like, you know, have a look at the time you've got, and then let's just put things into the time you've got and still leave you white space. She's like, oh my gosh, this was so exciting. I told my neighbour, and we've got Hoover time, and we've got this time. And it literally is like this.
Saved her life, yes. I know, but
yeah.
you do need, listeners, viewers, you do need Hoover time. I just need to say that. You need to make time to Hoover the stairs. It has to be done, and it makes you feel so much better. There you go.
It does. But you know what? If hoovering doesn't float your boat, I mean, for me, housework, I don't mind hoovering, but every other bit of housework I really don't like. If that doesn't float your boat, the best use of your time might be to get a cleaner.
Yes, true.
You can go and do that. It might not be for everybody. Some people love it, some people loathe it, but being able to do that, because my one thing is, in order to be visible out there, if you turn up as like a burnt out kind of version of yourself, that's what the world is seeing from you. That's what you're showing the world. You're not showing them cool, calm and collected. So if things feel too much, then it's likely that you're doing too much, and you know you'll need to order that. And then the second thing about being focused, here's the truth. You know, I've been in business for 11 years. Unlike some people that I've seen around me, I've never gone, oh, I'm going to do this thing and I'm going to do that thing. I literally started my business 2010. I was like, I'm going to coach and train and make cakes and chocolates.
Yeah.
But thankfully, I found out within the first 2 years that as a business model, it didn't work for me. You know, 3 days on a 65 quid cake for, you know, 3 days worth of consulting at like 1,800 a day didn't kind of work out. So that meant that I was able to kind of to smooth that over in my business model. Other than sort of working through that and the evolution that happened in the first couple of years, I have always talked about visibility. I haven't added more things. I haven't gone for what I think makes the money. I've stayed in my lane. That's an important part of focus. And sometimes, and I can say this as a person who Anne Wilson, who's known as the Welsh chef, she talks about being an octopus on roller skates. That's how I was, like all over the place. I needed to do everything. That's not focus. So when the going gets tough, focus in on the thing that you do. The other reason this is important is a majority of the people I work with do lots of things and they pull it all together. I'm not saying you can't do that. You can still do that, but if you don't focus, it's stressful. It stresses you out mentally, physically, and you know, in all other sorts of ways as well. It has you fall out of love with your business, with your profession and what you do, and it makes you just want to give up. And I don't want people to do that. I want them to experience joy while they're doing this. So number one, stop squashing too much in, and number two, stay focused. Do whatever it takes to stop those distractions, and including what you share in your business. You spread yourself too thinly and too far and wide, nobody understands what it is you do for them. So that's what I would say to those.
And do you do that personally?
Yes, I do. In fact, as we're recording this, in the run up to last month, I was under probably one of the most stressful times personally, I think, that I've been in for a long time, you know, and there were so many things I wanted to do. And it's funny because I was looking at writing something to my email list about this, but it sounded really morbid when I wrote it down. So I was like, okay, let me rework that. You know, in that, there are things you can do because I've been doing this for a long time and I have a core message. I could repurpose content. I didn't get to do all the things in my head or my plan that I wanted to do, but I actually had to take my foot off the pedal. And given that I was in the kind of last couple of weeks of promoting, you know, an online event, everyone will tell you don't do that. So there's a lot of time that I practice what I preach. There are times, and it doesn't even make me feel comfortable because I like to help people, but there are times when I recognize I don't have the bandwidth or the brain space, and people will be saying, oh, Jenny, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And they're not my clients, and I just need to kind of draw back in and conserve my energy levels. So I've had to get really good at being boundaried and doing that over the years. I'm not perfect at it, but I'm still a work in progress, and that's the biggest thing I think with being a business owner.
Oh, yeah, I think it's a practiced skill, isn't it? And it's something that you have to recognize the signs in yourself when things are wrong, or they're, you know, life throws curveballs all the time, doesn't it? Because that's life. And I think and what I'm taking from what you're saying, and you know, I know it's been very apparent for me, is you do what you can while staying true to your goals, and you know, you can give your best if you're looking after yourself. And you know, it's about practicing that. And someone said to me, someone that we both know actually said to me, if the people around you are, you know, they're in tune with themselves and their own values, they'll understand that. Do you know what I mean? And the people who don't, they're not for you, and that's okay too. So you know, that is I think that's really, really good advice about how you manage yourself. It's not time management, it's sort of self-management, and it's well-being management as well, isn't it? Really. So this has been a fantastic conversation. Jenny is on all the socials, and I'll put links to those in the show notes. So she's on Facebook and Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and she's also on Clubhouse as well, where we've done some work together as well. And just to close the show, is there anything that you sort of like a little bit of tip? You know, you've given us loads of tips and advice. Don't get me wrong. So don't feel under pressure. I know you're going to come out with the gem anyway, but is there any sort of tip or advice that you'd like to give our audience just to leave them with and close the show?
Yeah, I think when it comes to a topic like visibility and being visible, and especially when it's associated with either promotion or business growth or any kind of, you know, financial, any growth, don't focus so much on what other people are doing. The second thing I would say is the numbers might seem important, but they're not. We hear about viral videos, and a lot of people aspire to have a viral video. You know what? You can do really well on an email list of 10 people and, you know, a handful of Facebook likes or Instagram likes. Get used to really knowing who you are, who your audience are, so that you don't feel pulled into that pressure. You know, I myself and I've got clients that have made you know, a lot of money and a lot of ripple effects in the world, and you know, they've had like less than 100 people on their list, for example. It's not as important as you think. And the reason that I really bang on about this is because virtually everybody that I ever work with, there's some element of this where they kind of go, it's just not, you know, I'm just not going to get what I need. I don't have, you know, 24,000 people, and it makes them do things that kind of pulls them out of shape, you know, spend money on Facebook ads and they're still not clear on their audience, for example. And I really want to see a turn to that. It's like the visibility version of be kind to yourself, be kind to yourself, and you can do this. You can absolutely do this. Get your head down and go as you need to go, and get help. Stop trying to do everything yourself.
I think that's really good advice, to give yourself grace and to get help. Is that, and that if you know if you've got a vision, as you talked about in your system, you know what you want to do, and you take the steps to do that. And I know myself that you don't need big numbers to make a living, you need some good customers who need what you're going to offer them. That's what you need, and it could be 5 or it could be 500, and that's the thing, is about making a relationship with them, sort of like being where they are and being able to help and having something to offer, isn't it? And being really clear what that is. So I think that is brilliant advice, Jenny. Thank you so much for being a guest on the show. We did this about a year ago, didn't we? And sort of that day, and the world has turned on a sort of sixpence since then, hasn't it, really? So it's really good to do it again, and to do it on video as well. So this will go out as a podcast, and it will also go out on YouTube, and it's been absolutely wonderful. I love the book thing, so we might have to do that again in another format, and the stationery thing as well.
Yes.
So thank you so much, Jenny.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me. And remember, if you are watching this on Dawn's channel, please subscribe to her channel.
Oh, yeah, brilliant. That's a good tip. You should always say that, and I never do. So, so please subscribe to the channel. So that's it for the Dawn Jarvis show today. Thank you so much for being here, and we'll see you again soon. Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to the Dawn Jarvis Show. If you enjoyed this episode, there are 2 things you can do. Number 1, leave Dawn a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts. It would mean so much to her if you took a moment out of your time to post your thoughts on the show. It will help Dawn reach so many more people and help them with their well-being. Number 2, subscribe to Dawn's email list, the Diverse Nurse Digest, using the link in the show notes. Until the next time, thank you and goodbye.